Okay, go ahead, introduce yourself, what you do, who you help, how you help them, all the good things.
Okie dokie. Hi, I'm Rachel Rawnsley. I am a psychic business mentor, or some people call me a spiritual business mentor. I help people who run their own spiritual businesses and I help them to scale those businesses. I sometimes help startup businesses, but I like the more challenging scaling of the businesses and I help people earn kind of like from the 5K to 10K kind of category. Okay. But I do help startups as well. And I'm a psychic medium. I will tell you more of that later. I'm a Reiki master and I'm a past life therapist. I also have a membership. I teach psychic development and I teach the spiritual business stuff on there too. So it just depends how people want to work with me, whether they want group work or one-to-one. Okay.
That's quite a bit of different things that you've done and are still doing.
Yes, I mean, I don't advertise past life therapy or Reiki. Um, Palm reading, barely advertise that these days, barely advertise that. Most of my concentration these days is the spiritual business mentoring. So that's where my main focus is these days, helping people to build their spiritual businesses. Yeah.
Now, is that online, offline?
Mostly online. Okay. I have just moved, well, about a year, nearly a year ago. I moved from a in American terms, I would say a small city. I moved from a city about 100 miles north of London and I moved over to the East Coast. So I am in a very small coastal village now. So there really isn't much scope around here to be working offline, which is not bothered me because I've been online since COVID. COVID hit and I had a lot of clients that were offline, in particular who used to come and see me for readings and Reiki and past life. Um, and when COVID hit, of course, people couldn't come and see me anymore. So it was a case of I need to do this spiritual work a little bit different. So the summer of 2020 was boiling hot here. I was in Leicester then, in the Midlands, and I set up my psychic development membership site, which over the 4 years has morphed into a spiritual business membership site as well. I still teach the psychic development, very low key, but most of the membership these days is aimed at spiritual business entrepreneurs. Yeah. So I still dabble with the palm readings, the Reiki, the past life therapy, but it's not something that I advertise. People, regular clients will come to me and I'll get messages like, "Hi Rachel, not contacted you for a long time. Do you still do readings?" That sort of thing. So I get those all the while. So it's not that I don't need to advertise for those anymore. They're like that's like my hobby these days, doing palm readings.
What is your current strategy for networking to get in front of potential clients?
So I'm a big lover of Facebook groups. I've designed a Facebook masterclass that gives literally simple, basic steps to set up a Facebook group and how to nurture it, and then more importantly, how to monetize it. So I'm a lover of Facebook groups. I'm also 95% of the way through a business strategy course at the moment. So I've learned loads of business strategies this year. I think one of my favorites is a masterclass. I love doing masterclasses because they're short and sharp. I've done the 5-day experiences, I've done the 3-day experiences. They're great. They are great for your cold lists, but I have an incredibly large audience. And my last masterclass, which was about a month ago, brought in 4 new high quality clients. So Yeah. So I do like my masterclasses, yes.
How has the way that you network changed over time since you started your business?
So I've been in business doing mainly palm readings and teaching Reiki and giving Reiki for about 30 years. And in the old days, we used to have business cards printed and flyers and postcards. We used to put the postcards in the shops. We used to give out business cards to anybody and everybody, and flyers. I used to go around my local city centre and give out flyers. I mainly got clients from word of mouth, and that literally kept me in business for 30 years, word of mouth. But I just decided to totally change the way I work when COVID hit in 2020. And that's when I went, I've been online about 10 years, 10 to 15 years when I used to use Skype years ago. So that's how long I've been online. And I've been, I've been servicing clients all over the world for the last sort of 10 to 15 years. But it's only really been the last 4 years that they've been mainly online. I still have clients. Somebody came to visit a few weeks ago, wanted a reading and bought a bundle of strategy sessions at the same time, and she's a member. And she was on holiday here because I live in a coastal village here. It's on the seafront. She was here on holiday and she came to visit me face to face, which was lovely. So I still have clients in my house, just not very often. They're kind of like a bit of a special thing for me these days.
What do you think is the most important thing for business owners to start networking?
So the most important thing to start networking is to get your name out there. So I always suggest to clients of mine, the easiest way to get your name out there online is to get into other people's podcasts, like I'm doing now, or get onto guest expert sessions. And I love doing guest expert sessions in other people's memberships. I have people in my membership, and in turn, I go into other people's groups, memberships, Facebook groups, etc. So it's literally widening your audience. And those are if you only want to stay online, those are the easiest two ways of doing it. Of course, if you want to go offline, you can always go to events all around the country, networking events around the country. But I'm a bit cut off here where I am, and my nearest city is 45 minutes on the train. So I don't get out much, so I rely mainly online these days.
How would you say that the way you network is different from other people in your industry?
So the way I network, I find that a lot of people um have set strategies and go into groups and have a tunnel vision of what they want to do. I go into a group, get to know the people in the group, get to know of their expectations first of all, and ask about the group rather than just go in and teach or talk about a certain subject. I like to get to know about the group first of all and get to know the host as well. So I'm not talking, I don't like talking at people. I like being interactive. So I like doing stuff like that. Yeah.
I love interactive conversations in groups as well because then I do get to know people better.
Yes. Yeah. Which is really useful. Yeah. Because you're networking seamlessly then. It's much easier.
Would you say you're more introverted or more extroverted?
Definitely extroverted. I can definitely survive on my own in a large crowd. I'm usually the one to speak first. I'm very confident. So yeah, definitely more extroverted.
So with that said, do you prefer networking in groups or having more one-to-one conversations?
Doesn't actually bother me. Doesn't bother me. I like if I was closer to a city, I would actually be networking. I would be going to London more, for instance. London from me is like 2 hours on the train. Um, Probably about 2.5 once I get to my destination first. But I'm the only caregiver around here for my son at the moment, and he's at what we call secondary school. You would call that middle school, I think. He's nearly 13. So my husband works an hour away. So if anything happened to my son at school, I really don't need to be in London. So I'm at that stage at the moment where I can't really travel much at the moment. I can't just pick up a train and like go to London like at the drop of a hat. I would love to. I would love to travel more. It's just not practical for me right now. So I have to do everything online at the moment. But that's fine. That's fine at the minute. That's what works right now. Yeah.
Would you say getting comfortable being uncomfortable is part of the entrepreneurial skill set?
Absolutely. Getting out of your comfort zone is where you learn. And for instance, if it's like if you're doing a podcast for the first time, if you're being a guest for the first time, you always have that sense of some people get anxious, some people get nervous, some people it's just like I get excited because I absolutely love talking about what I do and think I've been doing these podcasts and guest experts and interviews for years. Um, but I would say that by doing something that you do feel uncomfortable with at the time, practice it more and more and more, and then you will get comfortable with it. It's the only way you grow spiritually, personally, if you get out of that comfort zone. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that I've definitely learned as an entrepreneur is getting out of comfort zone.
I suppose it's difficult for some people at first. I'm an extrovert, so it's never been difficult for me. Years ago, I used to walk into a club, pub, restaurant and do psychic nights and psychic parties for like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people and stand on stage. Um, so it's not something that I'm new to, not at all. It's just I like the limelight.
Would you say people are more open and out of the closet on psychic abilities? Does that make networking easier?
Did you say they're more open? Sorry, I didn't quite catch
Yeah,
that.
because I noticed, I think like more recently people have become more aware of psychic abilities. There's been kind of an
Got you.
upsurge on that.
Yes. This is a funny one actually. A funny one. 4 years ago, rewind 4 years ago, and I went online and there were a bunch of people and I joined a big group and 95% of those people were dead set against this spiritual stuff. Now, I've been psychic since I was 3. I really don't know any different, okay? I don't know what it is to not have spirit guides. I don't know what it is to not see spirit. I don't know what it is to not have that someone to speak to, right? So that's me and that's what I've been brought up with and that's just who I am. But I've certainly noticed over the last 4 years, a lot of people have jumped on the spiritual bandwagon. Some people, they've learned it. Yeah, absolutely. Good for them. But some people have jumped on the bandwagon because it's the in thing these days. Yes. And you can tell those people that have done that because they come across a bit false. and it's not, you can tell it's not authentic, not in some people's, yeah, it's not truly authentic. Some people have learned from fantastic mentors, psychic mentors, and that's absolutely fabulous. But yeah, you can certainly tell those people who are just faking it, and it's a bit sad really, because if you want to learn about this, learn about it. Don't fit in, try and fit in because it's kind of like the in thing to be. Do you know what I mean? Learn about your own spiritual beliefs if you want to, but don't fake it, because as old-fashioned psychics who don't know any different can spot a fake a mile away. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I didn't really start with a mentor. I've had sort of uneven development on some of the psychic gifts myself. And,
Mhm.
it's like a lot of people, they start out having some as kids and then they shut it down. And then
Yes,
later
that's correct. That's correct.
they
That's
go
very
back.
correct.
Yeah.
Mm. Many children you find are actually very psychic anyway, but they do shut it down. Children are taught um from a very young age that that's not real, and Santa's not real, and the Easter Bunny's not real, and fairies are not real. And from about the age of 9, 10, children are taught these things are not real. And usually it's either by teachers, educators, or older siblings, and older friends. They're taught it's not real. So then they block it out, and you usually find people come back to it sometimes in their 20s. Usually it's when people are a bit older, like 30s, 40s, that they come back to it. And sometimes it's a trauma brings them back. Yeah,
Did you invest in upgrading your networking skill set?
I did. Yes. I've done quite a few businessy type courses, but this year I've done a business strategy course, and it's enabled me to network in lots more different kind of business places rather than just the spiritual places, which is good because going into different businessy spaces is as good as the spiritual space. Spiritual spaces can be sometimes quite clicky. So it's good to get into the businessy spaces as well. So yeah.
Did you make some unaligned connections that you invested more time than you should have invested in them?
Yes, but I'm not a believer of I don't have regrets. Okay, so I'm not one of these people that will say, "Oh my God, I wish I didn't do that. Oh no, I regret that." That's not me at all. So yes, I have over the last, especially over the last 4 years, I have been in spaces where it's not been for me, but you are put there to learn. I believe you're put there to learn something. So yes, I've been in, a few memberships over the last 4 years and other business spaces, and I've come out and I've thought, oh, I don't quite know what I was doing in there. But then I kind of backtrack and think, well, what's happened? What are the pros and cons since you left that space? What are the pros when you were in that space? So I always tend to look on the more positive side, rather than the negative side, and not have regrets. But I've done that through my life anyway, so I very rarely have regrets about what I've done. Even the really bad things that have happened, I still don't have regrets. I'd go back and do it all over again, the whole lot, because it has made me who I am today.
Mm. Do you ever find introducing yourself and what you do in a short amount of time awkward?
Yeah, because I can't really. I'm not one of these people that can put what I do in one sentence. So I kind of like go on and on and on and on and on and on and on
Yeah,
about what I do.
that's
Mm.
one of the things I actually help people with is don't go to networking meetings and try to give the master class. That's for the coffee chats.
Yeah,
People want to look at your lead magnets or your website or whatever, because you're not going to be able, you
yeah.
just want to pique their curiosity enough that they want to look at more stuff.
Yes, yes, yeah. So I've learned over the years, just to give tidbits of what I do, and with masterclasses, just to dangle a little bit of a carrot. And I've just devised my own um, framework. So that has helped my last masterclass enormously because I was able to tell them about my framework, but not anything else. Okay, so I dangled the carrot by telling them about the my spirit framework that I've called it. I'm very proud of it, but I don't actually do the how. Yeah. So that was quite useful, yes.
What are your thoughts on tapping into your intuition when networking?
Oh, I do that all the while. I tap into my intuition on a daily basis wherever I go, whether it's for personal business, whatever reason I go wherever I go. I do it without thinking because I use my intuition. I it's easy to ask me how not to use my intuition because it comes naturally to me to use my intuition. I regularly use, sometimes I don't listen to my intuition, and then I find I do something wrong. So I should have listened to my intuition. But yes, I wouldn't say I judge people, but I do stay clear if I'm in a an offline networking event and I meet people for the first time, it don't doesn't take me very long to suss out who's who, what's what they're like and what they don't like and um sense those people. I can sense fakes very, very, very easily. Yeah. Yeah. But I give everyone a chance and like, some people surprise you, but most often than not, my intuition is right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I can pull up those red flags very easily.
Any closing remarks or things you want to add?
So I don't think I need to add anything else because I think the range of your questions has been absolutely fantastic, Laurie. But what I would like to say is, if I was to give any piece of advice, I would say if you're learning something, if you're teaching something strategy-wise, just keep it simple. I like to keep my teaching very simple. I was commended once from one of my clients. Um, she was neurodiverse, and she says, "You're probably one of the only mentors I've ever come across who has explained in A, B, C kind of steps how to work my business." And I thought that was great. And then I said to her, yes, but that's how my mind works. I do A, B, C, D, and everything is in order. And if you do it the other way around, it doesn't make sense. She says, yes. And that's why I love working with you because you keep it really simple and you break everything down. And I think that's one of my kind of philosophies that I have. Keep it very simple and give clients practical steps when I'm helping them with their businesses. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely known people who can do things very well, but struggle to break it down, even though they're
Yes.
very successful at what they do.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. I've since being in the online space for the last 4 years, I've come across quite a few business mentors, business coaches, some spiritual, some not, some pretending they're spiritual, which is funny. But some of these people, they'll give you a lot of what I call fluff, okay? or some people call it something else, BS. But when you're listening back to the masterclass or whatever, you think, yes, but tell me how. Break it down. Give it to me more simple. Don't just say, do this, do that, do this. How do I do this or do that and the other kind of thing? And I think people, a lot of business mentors and a lot of business coaches simply do not know how to teach. And it's as simple as that. Some don't know how to teach. Everybody teaches differently. Okay. So some people are very visual, some people, write things down. But it depends how your client wants to learn. So I always say to my client, how do you work best? Do you work best orally? Do you work best visually? Do you like a set strategy? Do you like to fly by the seat of your pants? Literally, how do you operate? And I think when you teach how your clients want to learn, that's when you get results, because your client will actually follow your strategies and your teaching ways if they are actually interested in learning. I teach lots and lots of different ways, and I do not have a neurodiverse brain, I don't think, but I have a lot of success teaching neurodiverse people, because I just seem to kind of like know how they want to be taught, and you've just got to listen to people. Everybody learns differently. Everybody learns differently. Absolutely. And if you really listen to that, then yeah, you can actually teach them, and it will go through, it will filter through into their brains. I'm very much a sit down and be taught at kind of person, in the sense of traditional teaching. Blackboard, the old blackboard, write something down on the blackboard, write it in your books kind of thing, or learn from books. But a lot of people don't learn like that. And I realized when I started mentoring 4 years ago that some people need other ways of learning. So that's why I kind of listen to how my clients want to learn, and then I devise a strategy round what they actually need. Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so. No, thank you for having me. It's been
You're
fantastic.
welcome. I really love doing this interview with you.
Thank you. It's been great. Yeah, been really good.